Okay, we're learning lots of tips for optimizing our 3D scenes, and hopefully this has been super helpful so far. This next one has had me stumped for ages, and I'm really stoked that I found this one out. It's just a really good kind of get out of jail free card when rendering out your scenes. And it kind of represents one of the main reasons that you can get away with a bit more. You can get away with some more stuff when using the movie render queue over using just live streaming out via spout or whatever. This is a form of buffer that kind of gives the movie render queue some time to figure out the image before writing it to a file. So I've set up a new test here. This is another thing that's usually quite problematic. It's when you got these reflective floors and you got the direct sunlight coming on here. So I've disabled the fog for now, and I've just changed the direction of the directional light just to give this kind of like sunset-y looking thing. And when we jump into the camera, you can see that seam in the center. If you zoom in a little, yeah, you're getting this weirdness. And when playing the scene through, this is what it would look like. And if you just leave it to render as usual, it will probably just render it like that. You'll just have that square. It's not going to look great. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set a kind of frame buffer, which is going to give us literally a buffer to stop it from playing at this speed. You know, if we manually do this, it kind of has the flash of the frame that we don't want, but when you leave it sat there, it figures it out over time. So we're kind of going to force that kind of delay to make it figure it out. We go movie render queue, hit that, set that directory. We'll just do 920 by 1080 because we're just doing some tests for now. So render local, and it's going to whiz through that super quickly, going to render it out super fast, which is cool. But when we check out the frames, we got that visible square right here. And so setting this frame buffer is going to remove that for us. So let's check it out. So we want to render out this sequence, and we've got this config here. So this is where we can set all our settings, and you choose the setting by clicking on this drop down. I've already made an anti-aliasing setting, so that won't be there, but it'll be around here, I think. And so you set that, and turn this back on, and here's all your settings that you need to play with. Set this temporal sample count to 64, override the anti-aliasing, and set the anti-aliasing method to none. It's just going to use this temporal sampling, and we could probably get away with making this 15 actually. It's 8 to start with, so doubling that temporal sample count will double the amount of time it's going to take to render it, but it will mean that it will give it some time to work out what it's doing. So with your directory set, I'm just going to render it pretty low res for now because we're still testing. Temporal sample count, override, set that to none, and give that a go, and you should see it's going to take longer. It's got this sub sample going on now. It's going to count up to 15 each time, but render time is going to be a lot slower. It's going to come out looking a lot better, and you can see as we go through here already, the seams are just gone. So that's a really good way to fix that. When you got that direct sunlight on a kind of reflective material, using this kind of temporal anti-aliasing frame buffer seems like a really good way to avoid these seams. But if this isn't quite doing it for you, there might be a couple other things you can do. I found that when my camera was too low to the ground, it wasn't really helping so much. So you could just, change that setting, make it higher or lower, and make sure you're changing that across all of your keyframes. Another way is maybe you're a little too close to the texture, but then also maybe the texture's too detailed, too small. You could try either just scaling that up or changing the UVs of your material. That could change things. Try slightly tweaking the direction of the sun as well. That can always potentially help if it's not hindering the look of your scene too much. And then also just that temporal sample count. Always bear in mind that the higher that is, the higher quality the image is going to be at the end. Putting it up to something like 64 may help you out because it's just giving the machine a bit more time to work out the image. So yeah, I hope that helps you. It's definitely helped me out a lot with these reflective material kind of settings. Yeah, I hope that helps.
You're jamming with the hottest disc jockey.